Packmates, a podcast about Magic the Gathering Limited. Today we're doing the limited set review. We go card by card and give them a rating.
I'm going to go ahead and go over our rating scale that we use to rate the cards. 10 through 9 are basically our bombs. For 10, I have our Gruff Triplets, Unbeatable Bomb. 9, Sleep Curse Fairy, the 3/3 for 1. From 8 to 7, I have Hyper Efficient Removal and Hyper Efficient Creatures. For an 8, I have Inadane's Recruiter from the last set, Torch the Tower, which is a 1-mana removal spell. For 6 through 4, these are like what's going to make up the largest part of your deck. And these are like varying from pretty solid creatures to creatures that are like usually like your last cuts. For 6, I have Ministrosity, the 3/1 for 2. The Into the Fate Court, the draw 3, the best blue card. For 4, I have Verdant Outrider, which is like a semi-unplayable creature. And then from 3 to 0, it's just varying levels of unplayability. For 3, I have Sugar Rush, the pump spell that draws you a card. 2 Protective Parents of super inefficient creature, and 1 Eerie Interference, the Bad Fog. And for 0, Greater Aromancy, which is like an unplayable enchantment. And that's our scale.
We're back with a Lost Caverns of Ixalan limited set review. This time we're on white. As always, we're starting with the commons. First up, we have Acrobatic Leap. This is 1 white for an instant. Target creature gets +1/+3 and gains flying until end of turn. Untap it. What do you think?
It's like a 4.
It does so many things.
It does a million things, but like they all do nowadays. But like it's kind of whatever.
I'll give it a 5.
It's like a
1-mana tricks are always like fine.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Adaptive Gym Guard. 3 and a white for a 3/3 artifact creature gnome. Tap 2 untapped artifacts and/or creatures you control. Put a 1/1 counter on it. Activate only as a sorcery. Seems legit with your map tokens. I'll give it a 5.
I'll give it a 5. It just is too expensive.
A little underwhelming starting off, yeah. But it's not hard to imagine it coming out as a 4/4 and then just slowly
That's true.
growing.
That is true.
Next up, we have Attentive Sunscribe. 1 and a white for a 2/2 artifact creature gnome. Whenever it becomes tapped, scry 1. This is sick.
I like it, actually. Yeah, I give it a 6, yeah.
Next up, we have Cosmian Blast. 1 and a white for an instant. Deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature.
Solid.
Yeah.
It's like a 5.
What are you thinking?
It's like a 5.
I'll give it a 6. I think it's fair. Deconstruction Hammer. 1 white for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has 3 tap it. Sacrifice the hammer. Destroy an artifact or enchantment. Equip for 1. Short sword with upside. I'm down. I'm
down too. I like it, actually. I give it this one a 6.
It could be. It could be really good. Next up, we have Envoy of Okanek Ahau. 2 and a white for a 3/3 cat advisor. And then you can pay 4 and a white to make a 1/1 gnome.
I like it.
3/3 for 3, baby.
Yeah, it's good. I give it this
Massive
one a 6,
upside.
actually. It's super good upside, like especially in the late game.
Yeah, 6 sounds good. Sure. Next up, we have Family Reunion. 1 and a white for an instant. Choose 1. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn, or creatures you control gain hexproof until end of turn.
It's okay.
It like takes all the downsides of putting hexproof stuff in your deck and turns it into upside because you can just buff your whole board.
Yeah.
I think it's like a 5. I think it's pretty good.
I think it's a 5. It's a fine trick, right?
Yeah, it's a good trick.
Mhm.
Next up, we have Glorifier of Suffering. 2 and a white for a 3/2 Vampire Soldier. When it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice another creature or artifact. When you do, put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 targets. That could be really good. I mean, it's obviously built around.
Yeah, it's okay.
I think it's a 6.
It's okay. Yeah. No, I'm gonna start off at 5. It seems solid though.
Next up, we have Iron Paw Spirate. 1 and a white for a 1/2 Cat Warrior. When there's the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. This is just a 2/3 for 2.
Yeah, it's good. This is
with upside. Yeah, it's better than that.
Good. I'm a fan.
6.
Yep, I have it at 6 too.
Just give away 6s. Next up, we have Miner's Guidewing. This is a 1/1 bird for 1 white. It's just 1 white. It's flying in vigilance. When it dies, target creature you control explores. Man, this is what you want to put all these counters on we were just talking about.
Yeah, this is very good. I like it.
How good?
It's like a 6.
Another
like a
6.
6. If
It is
the
terrifying when your opponent plays this on turn 1.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know they're about to just jam like 3 mana auras onto it, and yeah, it's gonna be gross. Good target for the short sword.
The cheap equipments. Next up we have Old Tech Archaeologist, 4 and a white for a 4/4 human artificer scout. When there's a battlefield, choose one. Return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand, or scry 3.
It's pretty okay.
Buying back an artifact seems pretty good.
Yeah, that's
Five.
good. And scrying 3 is real too.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's okay. I give it
Not
a
as good
5.
as drawing a card, I don't think.
Scry 3 is equivalent to drawing a card, I think. Because, like, in the late game, like, yeah, I'm not justifying myself.
That's
It's
okay.
good.
Yeah,
It's
I get
good.
it. I
It's a
understand
good
what you're
card.
saying. Old Tech Cloud Guard, 3 and a white for 3/2 human soldier with flying. When there's a battlefield, make a 1/1.
Yeah,
That's
this is
good.
good. I
That's
like it.
good.
This is
2
like a
bodies
6.
on the flyer.
I
6.
have that on a 6, yeah.
Could be a 7 even. That could be the best common.
It could be. I wouldn't be that surprised.
Right. Next we have Otaclan Landmark. 1 white for an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, scry 2. Craft it with an artifact for 2 and a white. It comes a 1/4 flyer. Whenever it attacks, target attacking creature without flying gains flying until end of turn. This kind of mid.
Ah,
It's like a 4.
yeah. Yeah, it's infinitely slow.
Yeah. Next up, we have Petrify. 1 and a white for an enchantment aura. Enchant artifact or creature that permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. It's like a 7. It's really good. It shuts down craft and all that stuff too. Pretty good.
I have it at like 5. It's like mid removal. I hate these.
They're really good. They're good removal. Next up, we have Quicksand Whirlpool. 5 and a white for an instant. This spell costs 3 less to cast. If it targets a tapped creature, exile target creature. That's kind of like murder almost.
Yeah, I have it at 6.
This
I
is a
like it.
7 too. That's good.
It's solid.
Next up, we have Soaring Sandwing. 4 and double white for a dinosaur. That's a 3/5. It's a flyer. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life, or you can planescycle it for 2. Another solid 5 in the planescycle.
Yeah, I have it at 5 too.
Thousand Moons Crack Shot. 1 and a white for a 2/2. Whenever Thousand Moons Crack Shot attacks, you may pay 3. When you do, tap target creature. What do you think?
Pretty mid. It's pretty mid. It costs infinity mana.
How mid?
4.
I'll give it a 5.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about it at all.
Thousand Moons Infantry. 2 and a white for a human soldier. That's 2/4. Untap Thousand Moons Infantry during each other player's untap step.
This one's like, I don't know.
This is what you
It's pretty
use to like tap your
tap.
creatures or artifacts.
But like all those are at like sorcery speed, right? So it
Right, so you
doesn't
can
actually
tap them
matter.
on your turn, and then on their turn you untap them. Right?
Yeah, but
And you still
yeah,
have them as blockers.
it's okay. I'm gonna start this one off at 5. I'm not crazy about it.
I'm at a
It
4.
has like bad vigilance.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
I think like you use it to just as an engine to tap for stuff. I
yeah.
don't know. Tinker's Tote, 2 and a white. When it enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 colorless gnome artifact tokens. Then you
This
can
is
sack
an engine that you
3
use for
life.
tapping. This gives you 3 artifacts for 3 mana.
Yeah, that's 3 for
That's
3,
a
baby.
shit ton. This is like a 6. This is a great card.
I agree. It's really good.
Yeah.
All right, now we're on to the uncommons. First up, we have Bat Colony, 3 and a white for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 bat creature token with flying. For each mana from a cave spent to cast it. Whenever a cave enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. This is like
I
the
don't
reason to
know.
be in caves.
Yeah, this is the best reason so far. So you can get at most 3 bats, which is pretty good.
For 3 mana.
But like if you aren't caving, don't put this in your deck. You're gonna need at least like 6 or 7 caves to make this worth it.
Yeah. So build around 7?
I'm gonna say like a build around 6, maybe even a 5. It's a lot of effort.
It is a lot of effort. Next up, we have Clay Fired Bricks. This is 1 and a white for an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic planes, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. You gain 2 life. Then you can craft it with an artifact for 5 and double white. On the backside, when it enters the battlefield, you make 2 1/1 gnome artifact creature tokens, and creatures you control get +1/+1.
This is probably like a 5 for me.
I think it's like worse. I think it's like a 3.
It's really slow.
Yeah.
Getting yourself a plane, so and it kind of makes up for it by gaining your life.
Yeah, it's just kind of none of that stuff you want to do. Like, Two twos for 7 is not where you want to be.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm gonna start off at 5.
All right. Next up, we have Dauntless Dismantler. This is 1 and a white for a human artificer, 1/4. Artifacts your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped, and you can pay XX white, sacrifice it, destroy each artifact with mana value X.
Horrifying. like,
Yeah, it's good.
like kind of horrifying. I think this is probably like actually like low key a 7. Like kind of disgusting. There are like situations where this is like so foul.
Like it could just come in and pop like 7 things for 1.
Yeah, right. Like out of nowhere,
Yeah.
too, right? Like it's stupid. Yeah.
Like 2 seconds after you think you're winning the game, you just lose the game.
Yes, for sure. Like it's pretty scary.
It's only scary against one deck. And against
Yeah,
all
but
the
like
decks, it
it's
sucks.
so scary against that one deck. Like it's not even funny. Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 5.
I'm gonna say it's like a
Sideboard
regular,
all-star though. Sideboard
but
all-star.
it's also a 1/4 too. You know?
Yeah.
It's also a 1/4, but yep.
Next up, we have Dusk Rose Reliquary. This is 1 white for an artifact. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact or a creature. It has Ward 2. When it enters the battlefield, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield.
So
Holy
imagine
cow.
so imagine you play one of these, get your opponent's like 9/9 bomb. Okay. You sacrifice a map
Yeah, and then your
token
opponent
with their
plays the
bomb.
1/4. Yeah, I get
And
I
then they
know.
play the 1/4? Like, that's insane. Like, yeah, this is good though. I give it like a 6.
I give it a 7. I think it's super good.
You have to sacrifice
An
something.
artifact. Who cares?
That's something that makes it like not super premium. There's gonna be like a non-zero
Okay.
chance that like you just run into a situation where you don't have anything to sacrifice. They just played their 1/4 and nuked your entire board of zero zero mana artifacts, you know.
Yeah. Next up, we have Guardian of the Great Door. This is double white. For an angel, it's a 4/4. As an additional cost to cast this spell, tap 4 untapped artifact creatures and or lands you control flying. This is an 8.
Yeah, I have a 7. I have a 7. It's good.
Imagine
It's
on
really good.
turn 3, you play the thing that makes 3 artifacts.
Yeah, that's a reason to do it, right? Like these cards are good. This is a lot though. This is a lot.
It is.
That's a lot compared to the one that I'm thinking of, you know?
Yeah, but like how hard is it to really get it out on turn 2? Or turn 3, I mean.
Pretty hard.
You just
You have to
play
have,
2 dudes on 1 dude on 1, 2 dudes on 2, and 3 lands.
so yeah,
That's
it
pretty hard. Yeah, that's
that's
pretty
pretty hard. Yeah, that's a lot.
But get out on
But
3 or 4, that's, like, pretty fine, and you can double spell that turn.
I'm gonna actually go down to 6. You convinced me that it's not. It's a real cost. It's a real cost.
Warlord's Elite was fire, though,
Yeah.
and it didn't have flying. Okay, next up, we have Helping Hand, 1 for a sorcery. Return target creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. That was
This
meant
is
to
how
be
you get.
played with the Angel.
Yeah, that's how you get your 4/4 flyer out for one.
Yes.
This is like the best we've ever seen this type of card.
For 1?
For
Yeah.
one, that's so cheap.
This set revolves around graveyard stuff. Like, it is
It might
easy.
be like a 6 even. I'm not sure though. I'm not 100%.
No, you
It's
are
at
sure. It is
least
a
a
6.
5.
It's a 6.
Yeah, like it's so cheap, but
All
yeah.
right. Next up, we have Kinjali's Dawn Runner. 2 and a white for a 1/1 human scout with double strike. When it enters the battlefield, it explores. Oh my god. A 2/2 double strike for
Uh,
3 would be so scary.
I'm gonna give this a 5.
I'm going to give it a 7.
Double strike is a mechanic for noobs.
Double
like
strike
that's
is
a
a
noob
nightmare
mechanic.
face. Next up, we have Malamet Warscribe. 3 and double white for a 4/3 cat warrior. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +2/+1 until end of turn. This is the guy you want to be blinking with that 1 rare.
Yep, what do you give him meta? This is
Uh,
one's a test. This
7.
one's a yep, that's correct. That's what I
Nice.
said. Yep.
Next up, we have Market Gnome. This is a 0/3 artifact creature gnome. When it dies, you gain a life and draw a card. When it's exiled from the battlefield while you're activating a craft ability, you gain 1 life and draw a card.
Alright, this one's a test too.
This one's a test for you.
This is a 7. This is good.
Yep. You're correct.
It's a bomb. It's a bomb.
One mana 0/3 that draws you a card after it
Yeah.
finally can't block anymore on turn
Yeah,
4.
like after it's just been taking up the battlefield, tapping to like make random things bigger, just being a nuisance for your opponent. Then it's
Like,
an extra nuisance.
people
Like,
play 1 mana, draw a card, gain a life.
yeah, yeah. And this is good. This is so good. Yeah. And
Yeah.
this gains you 2 life and draws you 2 cards. You
No,
gotta put a little work into
it's
it.
only
You
when
gotta put a
it's
little work.
exiled from the battlefield when you're activating a craft ability, not from your graveyard.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's still good though. I
Yeah,
still give it a 7. I love it.
it's really good. Next up, we have Might of the Ancestors, 2 and a white for an enchantment. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains vigilance until end of turn. This is like gonna be an 8 in some decks. There's
Yep,
so many
for
cheap
sure.
flyers.
In some decks, right?
A lot
Like
of
you
decks will be
gotta
like kind of bad, but like
yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 7. But in some decks, it's gonna be insane.
I'm gonna say a 6, but like it could be a 9 in some decks for sure. Like genuinely, like it's gonna bring in so much damage. It's stupid. Yep.
Next up, we have Mischievous Pup, 2 and a white for a 3/1 dog. With Flash, when it enters the battlefield, return up to one other target permanent you control to its owner's hand.
Pretty cute.
Another 3/1 for 3.
Yeah, but it's pretty okay.
The upside is definitely worth the 1 mana.
Yeah, I think so.
6.
I had it at 6. I brought it down to a 5. It might be a 6. I'll go up to 6.
This is the one of those 1 mana flyers that is going to be discussing with up next. Rune
Oh
Licker
yeah.
Bat.
Oh yeah.
1 mana for a 1/1 flying life linking bat. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, scry 1. Any
7.
sort of buff on this, it's unraceable. It's
Yeah,
almost
it's
already unraceable.
so bad. It's so gross. Yeah. I have it at 7.
Yeah,
It's a
7.
bomb.
Spring-loaded Saw Blades. 1 and a white for a flash. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 5 damage to target tapped creature and opponent controls. Craft with the artifact for 3 and a white. Then it turns into a vehicle. You can tap 2 other untapped artifacts you control. It becomes an artifact creature until end of turn, or you can crew it for 1, and it's a 5/5. This is hyper efficient sick removal. This
Yeah.
is like
Yes, it is.
8.
I even gave it a 9.
Wow.
I gave it a 9. Like, the fact that you just can get a 5/5 off of this random removal spell is insane, actually. Like, I think, like, whenever, like, the vehicles are gonna be stapled to, like, a removal spell or just have a removal spell stapled onto them, that's when they're gonna be insane. That's when they've been insane in the past, like Sky Sovereign, Console Flagship.
Yeah.
Like, this card's gonna be nutty.
Next up, we have Vanguard of the Rose. 1 and a white for a 3/1. Finally, Vampire Knight.
Yeah,
1,
about time.
yeah. Sacrifice another creature or artifact. Vanguard of the Rose gains indestructible until end of turn. Tap it. Ooh.
I like it. I give
Yeah.
this one a
I
6.
like it a lot. I'll give it a 7.
You already told that joke.
I am gonna tell it again. That's not the last time. That's the thing.
Alright, speed run.
This is not a speed run round. We
No,
already
this
messed
one
that up.
isn't? Okay.
We're on rares. Abuela's Awakening. X3 white. Sorcery. Return target artifact or non-aura enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield with X additional +1/+1 counters on it. It's a 1/1 spirit creature with flying in addition to its other types. Is this even playable?
No,
So it's a
I
2,
don't think so.
1,
I have it at like a
0,
I have it at 0. You're
1.
throwing. You're throwing by putting this in your deck.
1. Fabrication Foundry. 1 and a white for an artifact. Tap it, add a white. Spend this mana only to cast an artifact spell or activate the ability of an artifact source. 2 and a white. Tap it, exile 1 or more other artifacts you control with total mana value X. Return target artifact card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. Boo, 4.
Yeah, maybe a 3. It's
Yeah.
got too much text. It confuses me.
Next up, we have Get Lost. 1 and a white. For an instant, destroy target creature. Target creature, enchantment, or planeswalker. Its controller creates 2 map tokens. Solid, super efficient removal, 7.
It's like 5. It's like downside, right? Like it's not on the same level as like the murder, right?
I
You
mean,
can hit enchantments and planeswalkers, right? But like giving your opponent extra resources is kind of terrible. I'm gonna give it a 5. You should never be able to pick this card up because like it's never gonna be correct to take this card as high as everyone else takes it.
I
It's
don't know.
like
I
faithful.
still think it's like a 7. I still think it's good.
Yeah, I don't at all. I don't at all.
Pretzel's Flanker. 2 and a white for a 3/1 flash. When it enters the battlefield, choose one. Put a 1/1 counter on Cutzel's flanker for each creature that left the battlefield under your control this turn. You gain 2 life and scry 2. Exile target player's graveyard?
That's probably pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, the Descend stuff is just going to wreck that.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a 6.
Give it a 7. I mean, it's a 3/1 flash. Like, that's
Yeah,
sick.
but that's not really that's not that sick.
It's sick.
That's not 7 sick.
I mean, that with the upside it is, I think.
Yeah.
Sanguine Evangelist, 2 and a white for a 2/1 vampire cleric with battle cry. And battle cry is whenever this creature attacks, each other attacking creature gets +1/+0. When it enters the battlefield or dies, create a 1/1 bat with flying.
Where are you at on this one?
Seems really
Interesting.
good. Seems really good. 2/1 that makes a 1/1 flyer that you have to block to get another 1/1
Yep.
flyer. 8.
I have it as 7, but I like it a lot. I think it's good.
Thousand Moon Smithy, 2 and double white for a legendary artifact. When it enters the battlefield, create a white gnome soldier artifact creature token with this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of artifacts and or creatures you control. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may tap 5 untapped artifacts and or creatures. If you do, transform it. When it transforms, it becomes into a legendary artifact land that taps for a plains, or whenever you cast an artifact or creature spell when using mana produced by it, create a gnome soldier artifact creature token with this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of artifacts and creatures you control. This card is insane in artifact decks.
Yeah, I have it at a 9.
Yeah, it might even be a
It
10.
might even be 10. Yeah, but you gotta work around
Build
it.
around.
You
Yeah,
gotta
you gotta
build
work
around
for
it.
it. You do have to work for it. Man, pumping out XXs in artifact decks that are also
Yeah,
artifacts are
it's like
that's
unbeatable.
dumb.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have Unstable Glyph Bridge. 3 double white for an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it for each player, choose a creature with power 2 or less that player controls, then destroy all creatures except creatures chosen this way. Then you can craft it with an artifact for 3 and double white. The artifact's a 5/3 flying. Whenever an opponent casts a spell during their turn, they can't attack you or a planeswalker you control. Each opponent who attacked you or planeswalker you control can't cast spells.
I love this card. I I love this card so much. It's so unbelievably annoying to deal with.
It really
It's
is.
like like it's a 5/3 flyer.
Yeah,
like like
that
it's
wipes the board.
disgusting. It's actually disgusting. And like it's so easy to get going. And like half of the time you're gonna choose like you they're gonna have no creatures with power 2 or less to even choose. And like
If they do, who
you're just
cares?
gonna
Who
nuke
cares about
their
a 1/1?
board, keep your one dirtily O3 for later, right?
Well, you can craft. Yeah,
You could just to keep it so you could craft it with it. It's
you can
so sick.
craft when it dies, though.
Yeah, it's sick. I love it.
Is it a 10?
I have it at 9, but it's
Board wipes
possibly
that
a
leave
10.
stuff behind are almost always 10s.
Yeah, it's a 10. You got
Okay.
me.
Warden of the Inner Sky. 1 white for a 1/2 human soldier. As long as Warden of the Inner Sky has 3 or more counters on it, it has flying and vigilance. Tap 3 untapped artifacts and or creatures you control. Put a 1/1 counter on it. Scry 1. Activate only as a sorcery. That's going to be busted.
Yeah, this is your sleep curse fairy.
I don't
Like
know, though. Like, tapping 3 things is a lot.
like, what if you just do nothing and you just tap all your things for 2 turns,
Then they kill it and
right?
you lose, right? Like,
Not really, like, you still have things, right?
I don't know, man.
It's pretty good.
I'd rather like put this in an explore deck, I think.
I have it at, like, a 7.
I'm gonna put it at like a 5, but it's a 1/2 for. No, I'll put it at 6. Oger Tack, Deepest Foundation, 4 and double white for a legendary god as vigilance. If one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, 3 times that many of those tokens were created instead. When Oger Tack dies, return it transformed and tapped under its owner's control. It comes back as a land that taps for planes, or you can pay 3, tap it, transform it, if you attacked with 3 or more creatures this turn.
Yep, I
Okay.
have this at a 8.
Yeah, sure.
Like, it has no evasion or anything, but, like, if you get to, like, do the thing with it, like, imagine playing this gruff triplets with this.
Yeah.
Like
Imagine just playing that one card that makes 2 1/1s. Like,
yeah, like,
you
you
have
get
6.
6 1/1s and you
That's
win.
dumb.
Like, if you get to untap and make any token, it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's pretty stupid, but it is pretty vulnerable, but it, like, has
It
some
comes
form of,
back.
like
It comes back.
yeah, But,
Okay.
like, it's kinda hard to make it come back unless you get to on top with it in the first
Yes.
place, in which you're already winning, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 8.
Yeah. That sounds good. Next up, we have Resplendent Angel. 1 in double white for a 3/3 angel with flying. Being of each instep, if you gained 5 or more life this turn, create a 4/4 angel with vigilance and flying. 3 and triple white until end of turn, it gets +2/+2 in lifelink. Creates 5/5 or 4/4 angels by itself.
Yep.
9.
Yeah, I
Amazing.
have it at 9, yep. It's just vulnerable to, like, a braid or other stuff, which is fine, but
Yep. That's
it's
all we
more
got
fair.
for white.
Yep.
We'll catch you boys on the flippity flop.